Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is TheCoveredCallGuy. This channel is going to be my open book and transparent journey on trying to reach $10,000 a month. I'm basically, as of now, I'm halfway there. I'm yielding just about over 5K a month. I'm trying to replace my current salary, and as soon as I do that, I will probably look towards getting out the 9 to 5 and start enjoying my life. I know a lot of people invest for the same reasons. I am in my early 30s and I get it. Um, a lot of people are going to say, you're in your early 30s, why don't you go for growth? And I did. I did go for growth. I've been the SCHD guy. I had DGRO, FDVV. I was investing in growth for like 7 years, and I just realized that for my time frame, at least for me, there's nothing wrong with those stocks I mentioned, but just for me, for the time frame that I'm trying to achieve, it just wasn't going to work out. And for investing 20, 30 years to maybe have 2 million, 2.5 million, yielding maybe 100, 125 a year, I wasn't. I don't think I would have reached it in the time frame I needed. And with all the layoffs now, I don't think that is the right move at the moment. I mean, with inflation, it's just eating up all of the growth. And I get it. There is a bad stigma because of funds like ULTY. Year to date, down almost 50%. The last 6 months, down 17%. And I get it. There's going to be a lot of comments telling me I'm young and I should be going for growth, and these are just yield traps. But I don't own this ETF. I'm gonna go through what I own, and this is my first video, so as I get better with editing, and as soon as I figure out how to review my portfolio without giving my account number, I'm gonna show my holdings. I'm gonna give portfolio updates. I'm gonna do a deep dive on a next video on each of my holdings, separate videos. And yeah, so this is a recent journey for me, switch over, and this is pretty much going to be new for me too. I hope this is the right path. I hope I am going the right way, because it was a big switch for me. I completely rotated out of growth stocks to pure income, just because I felt like I wanted to replace my salary as soon as possible. I just don't want to work anymore, and I feel like anybody who's investing in income ETFs or for income is feeling the same way. With all these layoffs, there's no guarantee you're going to work 20, 30 years. Everyone is being laid. The smartest people in tech field is being laid off, and I just saw the writing. So anyone who's new to covered called ETFs, welcome. I'm gonna do a simple, quick breakdown of what a covered called ETF is, or CC ETF. So basically, these funds buy 100 shares of a stock. They sell call options on it, or you can hear a different wording for it, contract. The fund sells a premium, which is the cash, and then the fund pays the cash to you as income. So the fund basically sells a contract to somebody else that gives them the right to buy those shares at a higher price. And for selling that contract, they get a premium, and that premium is distributed to you as income. All right. There is a unavoidable trade-off to buying covered called ETFs. You're gonna miss out on the bull run. It always lags behind, but you get the immediate income. So if you're looking for that, possible 5x, 10x, 20x, then this isn't for you. Go stick with the growth stock, You got plenty of time to, DCA into it. So that is the downfall to income. And I know about it. I'm not here to chase the growth. I'm here for income. I'm here to just give me my money every week, pay me. Um, yeah, I'd rather have that money just in case I lose my job. So that's my security. I want to generate the cash flow now. I don't really care about your net worth. Show me your cash flow. Um, all right, so let's get into it. The first stock I want to talk about in my holding is the Goldman Sachs Nasdaq 100. I believe anybody and the oh wait, GPIQ, and this supposed to be GPIX. Anyways, both of them are great. Both of them are in my portfolio. I opened up the same one. Oh well, alright. Whatever, I'll just break it down. These two are the top tier covered called ETFs. If you were new to income investing, you need to have these two as your foundation. Why? Why do I believe these two are the best? Because of their strategy. Prove me wrong, but there is no other covered called ETFs that use their unique strategy. They use a dynamic overlay. 25% to 75% of their at the money calls, so they're not fully capped. Simply, they have the foot on the gas and they can switch it over to the brake. So if the market flips upside or downside, they can capture either side. And that's why I think these two have to be the staple for anyone wanting to invest into income ETFs. And these two are the staple of my portfolio. If I could pull up how much I own, I have maybe about 200 grand in each. If I could show my portfolio, which I haven't figured out how to yet, but these two, in my opinion, are the best cover called ETFs, without a doubt. Without a doubt, they are not fully capped. They are designed to let some of the S&P 500 upside run, or the Nasdaq. It's basically a hybrid between pure income and pure growth. It is the bedrock of my portfolio. I do have more in GPIX than GPIQ, just because GPIQ is a little bit more volatile. It covers the tech sector, and that's going to be a lot more swinging upside or downside. So I do have a little bit more in GPIX because I want it to be a little bit more stable. I don't want to see my portfolio swing too much to the downside, or just run up and then pretty much fall back down 15%. Let's see. The next one in my portfolio is QDVO. I love this ETF. Okay. This is not just an index fund. This is a bet on the fund managers. And before QDVO, I rotated from DIVO to QDVO. I was just like, you know what? I really love amplified ETF. I'm just gonna go ahead and switch over to QDVO for double the yield. The managers at this fund, they pick a concentrated portfolio of 20 to 40 large cap growth stocks that they believe in, and they've been managing it pretty well. I really like how they're managing it. They sell out of the money calls, anywhere from generating 4 to 6% from options and 0 to 2% from dividends, if any, plus capital appreciation. on stocks they don't write calls in. So that's what I like about it. Um, I'm not reading anything over here. I'm just speaking and talking freely from the top of my head. Um, this is also pretty much the third largest holding, right after the two Goldman Sachs funds. This would be my third largest holding, and I'm probably not going to put any more into this one, just because I feel confident I have enough. I have about 250 grand in this one just alone. So just in the Goldman Sachs, I have a little over close to 400,000, and QDevo, I really like it. I have about 250,000 in it. I'm just gonna go ahead, and it is, since it is really new. I've don't want to put, I don't want to say too much. It is a lot, but I do believe in the fund manager and amplify ETFs. That's why I put so much on it. Um, yeah, so this one is I would say it's part of the safer one, just right below the Goldman Sachs funds, just because they are trying to achieve both income and capital appreciation. So right here, it says it right here. Um, Seek capital appreciation from growth-oriented stocks with highly monthly income from option premiums and dividends. So as you know, this is the third cover called ETFs I'm talking about. If you can't see it, I'm picking CC ETFs that are not just maxed out on yield. I care about NAV erosion. So NAV erosion is a big thing for me. As you can tell, if you can look it up, since inception, it has been trending upwards. So I'm not just picking the most high yielder. There are certain risks to all of these stocks and ETFs. So I kind of went the more safer route. There are, Roundhill, the weekly ETFs, which I do own an ETF from Roundhill, so that will be up next. But for QDevo, it is my best of both worlds. I'm pretty sure they attempt both high income and portfolio value. So next up is a high yield weekly payer. Okay, but this is the ETF that I am building up right now. So all of my passive income and income from the ETFs is going into Maggie from Roundhill, and this one is going to be my weekly payer. I believe I have close to $40,000 in this one. So my goal is to reach at least $1,000 per week. So this part of the portfolio here, this is my high conviction satellites picks. This is very speculative. They are my yield accelerators, so they are high risk, high fee, but they are crucial to my high yield gold. It is, and I believe this one is the best one so far. It was between this and WPay, but I chose this over WPay because WPay, it's a leverage ETF, and I feel like, yes, you can get the swing up, but you can also get the swing down. And like I said, you were buying these cover call ETFs for that you want it to be stable, reliable, and you're buying the underlying that it has. And Mag 7, I don't see it going anywhere. Nvidia just hit $5 trillion today. If it were to implode, money is worthless. Forget about it. It doesn't matter anymore. Nvidia is larger than some countries combined. The first $5 trillion company. So I don't think, Mag 7 is going anywhere. And that's why I chose this one over the others, is because, You heard Netflix and chill, Mag 7 and chill. I think Mag 7 is going to be a winner. Um, let's see the performance. It has gone back up um from that crash. I think maybe last week of October there was a swing. And you got to remember, if it can survive, if these CC ETFs can survive the 4 years of Trump, we're good. We're in good hands. We're straight. We're Gucci. You know. So this is my first. This pure rocket fuel, pure risk weekly payer from Roundhill. Uh, the strategy is extreme because it's extremely concentrated into 7 funds. But like I said, I really think they're gonna perform well. I have no worries or concern. If one fails, it just gets rotated out, and one gets replaced. Um, this ETF, it holds underlying ETF MAGS from also Roundhill, which just holds 7, magnificent stocks, and it writes, I believe, out of the money call options weekly using flex options. If you don't know what flex option is, don't worry about it. Little guys like us won't have that option. Flex option is mainly for the big dogs, the hedge fund managers. They get the little special I guess leeway on how their options can be. They have more variety on what they can choose. It's basically customizable contracts, and it just lets them fine tune the strike price and expiration to maximize the weekly premium. Which we, if you're using, you're watching this video, you're probably using Robinhood or Fidelity or other Schwab or whatever brokerage. We're not going to be able to have these options, so don't worry about it. Now, there are risks to it. Obviously, like I said, the concentration risk is absolute. And because the yield is so high, a large portion of the return is return of capital. And this is where we have to be careful. Same with the Goldman Sachs. They're around like 8. I have to use last year's. I believe last year's was 80 to 90% return on capital, and then like 10 or 15% was the actual profits. And if you look at the chart, they have been holding up their they've went up. Their NAV is like, what, it started in the 35s, I think. Well, it's at 54.32 right now. So, that was yesterday. I'm pretty sure it's up. Anyways, their NAV has been up, and so there is no NAV erosions. Tax efficiency, I love it. That's another thing I'll probably get into. And then my next high yield speculative cover called ETF is a lot of people's favorite from one of the best funds in my opinion. BTCI from NEOS. I absolutely love NEO Fund. I think they're one of the best. If you've probably heard it, QQI, SPYI, one of the top tier cover call ETFs. Why I don't have it, I eventually will be adding them, but I personally believe that the Goldman Sachs should be everybody's foundation. They're basically I don't know how far I can say, but they're basically the VOO, right? Because of their strategy. Again, going back on their strategy, I think their strategy is so good. I can't find, you could prove me wrong, let me know. I can't find any other cover call ETF that have their unique strategy. It's basically they can pivot with the market to capture the upside and the downside. So I don't know any other funds that does that. Anyways, back to BTCI. This is gonna be my smallest position. I will be building this position after I reach my goal of 100, about 150, maybe 175 on Maggie. I will be building out the same exact amount on this position about 150 to 175. I want to have this one pays monthly, and I want to get paid around like 4 or 5 thousand a month from BTCI. This would be my last one because this is probably the most um, speculative holding. I I I don't think Bitcoin is gonna crash at all. I'm a true believer in Bitcoin. I think it is going to hold a place in everyone's portfolio in the future. Um, so that's why I think BTCI is the best. I know there is blocks BLOX. That is another great one, but that one holds you ETH, and I just rather stick with, if I'm gonna do crypto, I'm just gonna stick with Bitcoin. Um, I do have to mention that BTCI does not hold spot Bitcoin. It does hold um, the ETF that holds a Bitcoin hold. I believe I gotta double check on that. They do out of the money call options to generate the calls, and so far they've been good. They've pretty much followed the Bitcoin price. So if it drops, so does the ETF. If it goes up, so does the ETF. Their payout has been pretty consistent. Um, just like the Mag 7, the expense ratio is kind of high. These would be the highest. Oh, I didn't mention I gotta switch back to this, but the both Goldman Sachs has the lowest expense ratio at 0.29. So that's another reason why I think they're top tier. The expense ratio. When you plan to hold these, hopefully for the next 20, 30 years, 40 years, that adds up. So the expense ratio will, eat away at uh, your profits. So that is something to remember. But because these yields are so high, and if they can maintain the NAV, it doesn't matter. I don't really care. They are worth the price, the expense ratio, and Niels has been doing a great job. Let's see. That's pretty much my holdings. I don't have a lot just because I've been consolidating, and I pile onto one um, holding, and I buy, and I just build up one holding, and I just make sure I reach my goal as fast as possible, and then I move on to the next. I used to spread out, the money, and I would like that. That makes no sense at all. Unless the ETF falls drastically in price, I it just didn't make any sense. Like, why would you put $100 here and there, and you're collecting like 20 cents? Might as well just put the full 1,000. Collect as much as possible. That way you can compound so much quicker, and that's what I'm doing right now. Um, Maggie is the one I'm building up. I have, let's see, about another 110 grand to go. I'm trying to reach that. I'm trying to hopefully complete that goal by no later than ending of 2026. So by end of 2026, I want Maggie to be fully built out, paying me $1,000 a week, and then I'm gonna move on to BTCI. Yeah, and hopefully I'll be researching what stock I want to be buying next after BTCI. It will probably be a Niels fund or amplified fund. I might go back into, when I said the quote unquote the safer dividend ETF, I might go back to Divo. Divo is a traditional ETF with a cover call spin. So they write cover calls on their underlyings that they hold to give you the extra income monthly of 5%, I believe. So yeah, that might be the plan if I reach my goal. It's gonna definitely be surpassing $120,000 a year. And until then, I'm gonna see. I'm gonna do a bit more research. I'm gonna let these stocks, how well they perform. Right now, we've been on a bull market and an unstoppable bull market, and so far, everybody's winning. You can't really tell, which stocks are good in the bull market. Every single stock is. So if you're interested in, my high level income investing, and you see this plan to be built out $220,000 a year, hopefully it works. Hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment. You can tell me I'm wrong, and I gotta go back into the 3%ers and be safe. I'm all for everybody's opinion. So maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. It's great being paid out 5K a month, and I'm doing absolutely nothing. I was making a lot less in the um, uh, traditional dividend growth ETF. So disclaimer before the video ends: I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. This is strictly my DGen YOLO high yield ETF portfolio. This channel is strictly educational and for entertainment purposes only. Everything that you see in this video, I've done my own due diligence. You need to do your own. I could be completely wrong. All right. All investing involves risk, and you can lose money. You can lose it all. The content of this video are my personal opinions, and I'm documenting my own journey. Please do your own research before taking any investment decisions. The tax information discussed is for informational purposes only. I'm not an accountant. I don't know jack. It's not tax advice. If you need advice, go consult a professional. Thank you. Have a great one. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.